Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Andy's Movie and TV, and today we're going over Obsession once again. I know we already did a review for this movie, but I tried to be very, not spoiler centric in that video. So with this movie, there is a lot of scenes that I wanted to get into that I felt that I really needed to make a spoiler review. So we'll get into that today, guys. And I gotta say, this film is put one word on this movie to describe everything that you are going to be seeing is just memorable. There are shots that, like with the cat, that the second you get in there, you almost feel like, what the fuck? And I didn't need to see that, and it gets very just down immediately. And our main character Bear is almost craving that connection, some form of human connection. He's got this massive crush on Freaky Nikki, as they call her, and his grandmother had just passed away. He got this house from her after she passed, and you can tell that he just has nothing in his life affection wise, and he's literally begging for this human connection from the One Wish Willow, and it grants it, as we all know at this point. Like I said, huge spoilers in this video. If you haven't seen it, run away. And the second she turns into that other person and she starts taking on traits of Bear himself, she's like, my cat just passed away. And, right before that, she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then he's like, my cat just passed away. And, obviously that's becomes like, it's almost like she's trying to match some form of his DNA because she's lost her own in that very moment where she comes out in that pitch black. And the way that the just pure darkness is shot around Nikki and our protagonist as well at different times in this movie, but the way that she is shot in this film really frames the pure just loneliness, and the darkness represents her well because she becomes absolutely psychotic. And as I know a lot of people have framed in a very well, a lot of reviews at this point, that you don't really know who the big bad of this film is. The villain of this film is still yet to be decided by the viewer, because Nikki would never be fucking insane if it wasn't for the fact that this One Wish Willow was snapped in half by Bear. And, maybe he should have looked up that little review of it first. But, dude ends up getting a cat sandwich because of it. So we can't say he didn't. Instead of a shit sandwich, he gets a cat sandwich. I would probably rather have the shit sandwich. And, when he reads that note, what's it say? I've only seen the movie once, unfortunately. I actually might go see it later, but I just wanted to hop on here and speak about it a little bit. It's like, cat, and I can't remember what the hell it says. It's something about, like, it says a question mark on there after the end, and it confirms basically to us viewers and him that he's just eaten some of his cat in that sandwich that she made him so nicely earlier before he went out that fucking tape covered door. And she goes in like autopilot mode, shits herself, pisses herself. My God, Freaky Nikki. And Bear has totally taken advantage of Nikki. Obviously, we know that he has a huge crush on her. And his friends throughout this film they're like, why are you dating? She didn't give a shit about you before. And they are almost kind of like us viewers if we didn't see what was going on in the background. Like, why the fuck why is she so into you all of a sudden? And, he's literally taking advantage of her sexually and mentally. He's taken away her entire identity, and she's literally snapping out of it. It'd be like if I was doing this review and then all of a sudden I was like, oh God, and she sees Bear himself as some form of monster, and I love that. She sees him, and it's like, what are you looking at? And it keeps that sense of mystery so well throughout this film. Never feels the need to over-explain itself with the One Wish Willow. You never get to the point where you're like, okay, just get the fuck on with it. I don't need you to tell me this. The second that dude makes the wish and she comes out of that house, a totally different bitch. This isn't Freaky Nikki. This is Crazy Nikki. And her facial expressions throughout the film, just, my God, this actress absolutely killed it. I know it was on the trailer when Bear calls the helpline. He's like, hey, how do I alter my wish? How do I, change things exactly? What are the rules? And the guy just has such a glum tone of voice. He's just like, we don't do that here. Feels like trying to get your goddamn order changed at a Taco Bell once they already fucking destroyed everything. But yeah, I feel like the way that Curry Barker presents us with such a similar concept, kind of like Talk to Me did, when we were like, oh, whatever, they get this little hand and everything, goes wrong, blah, 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 right? But that was a pretty complex film with what was going on, kind of theme with the kangaroo at the beginning. Can't remember exactly how that film ends. Well, I know it also ends with them seeing the kangaroo, the chick does, and she's dying, if I'm not mistaken. Good movie. I would put this, I gave this film a 9 out of 10 if you haven't seen my last video. It honestly might be a 10 out of 10, but I hate to give anything a 10 out of 10 after I've only saw it once. I need to see it at least twice and probably let it grow on me for a little bit to sit here and be like, yeah, this is a perfect film. But as I said in my last video, there's nothing that I could, that I would be like, no, they should have did this. They did this wrong. This is incorrect. There's no point in this film did I even think about looking at my phone like, hey, what time is it? Nothing. I didn't know the runtime of this film and I wasn't interested. The only thing I was interested in was to see exactly how they were going to wrap this film up. And I thought it went pretty well. I heard that Curry Barker actually spoke to his dad. Don't know if this is confirmed. And, I'm sure they're both horror nuts considering. And he changed the ending after perhaps it wasn't exactly up to par of what his father had thought. I don't know exactly what the alternative ending was. I'm interested in knowing that. I know that he's making a future film with Aaron Paul Blumhouse. I believe it's a film. Not sure. I know he's also interested in making a series, kind of like People's Wishes Gone Wrong. I read that somewhere. Don't know, but I think this guy has serious eye for when it comes to the camera, and also he has ear. I know you might not hear that too often. He has like you hear somebody say they have an eye for something. The audio in this film really stands out. All of a sudden, everything's fine, and then they're just talking. That is Bear to Nikki through the wall. She's and she's taking a shower. He's like, hey, everything's okay, isn't it? I'm gonna go for a boys' night out. And you just hear that shower shut off immediately, and you're like, oh, fuck. And she's about to flip out. The moments that, like when she's at dinner and she's creeping up behind him, and right after she's fucking, no, I thought we were having a good time. Why are you doing this? And he's like, we are. And everybody in there is just fucking tripping out. I feel like at that point, maybe someone would have approached her. Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't have. But, someone that worked there perhaps, or anybody probably could have called the cops or have asked her, like, are you okay? Are you having some kind of attack? Sorry, there's a bug in here. Oh, sorry, motherfucker. But yeah, there are so many moments in this film where her insanity mixed with him knowing exactly what is wrong but trying to hide it, when it comes to a lower form of that in the restaurant at this point, gets the call from his best friend, she's lying, her dad does not have cancer, I called the hospital where he's supposed to be, it's all bullshit, get the fuck out of there basically. But he is well aware that this is all bullshit, and I feel like, I don't know if he really, it seemed to me like he just wanted to believe that her dad had cancer in that moment, because it felt that, like, to me, if I had made that wish and this girl all of a sudden has that interest in me after his dumbass completely blew the opportunity of telling her he actually liked her, and that's so relatable for someone perhaps from my generation that is, that you just can't really get your feelings out there because we're so stuck in like this digital underground all the time where you can get your feelings out perfectly through text, but then when you're right in front of the person that you may be interested in, you can't really get it out there. And that's expressed really well throughout this movie. And I was appreciative how they didn't overuse technology in any way. It felt very grounded. This movie could have came out any year. This movie could have came out 50 years ago, and it would still be as phenomenal as it is. And that's 100% on the shoulders of Curry Barker and Inde Navarette. I believe I said that correctly. She's phenomenal. She is well deserving of an award. I know that the Oscars are pretty cold to horror lately. You know, I don't know if that would break the barrier for whatever the hell they need for their weird template of making sure a movie is worthy. But anyone who watches this film is going to remember the cat sandwich. You're going to remember the moment where she's like, I'm kidding. Oh, I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, I'm not kidding. What if I'm not kidding? After she reads that weird ass, whatever the fuck that was, just creepy as shit, that Hansel and Gretel fucking, whatever the hell that was, she manages to fuck the vibe up so hard when it's around these people that she was the life of the party earlier in the film, and now she's, you know, not Nikki. Whoever the fuck this is, it's not Nikki. And like I said, I mentioned it earlier, but my favorite part of this film is when she snaps out of it for a second and she sees him for whatever the fuck she sees him for. And I just love how it never really shows us that. And by the point that he gets the other One Wish Willow towards the end of the film, and he's starting to, you know, perhaps think like, how the fuck could we fix this? That's after the insane car, like right in the middle of the car. She's what's her name, Sarah, the chick that obviously he should be going after. They're going over this letter of acceptance, and she did indeed get accepted. Not that she knows, because she got her face smashed into that fucking brick. That was tough. I think I mentioned in the last video that was the hardest kill to watch, most fun kill to watch for me since Terrifier 3. I would probably have to put in a Violent Nature in that same ballpark there. But I gotta say, even though those movies might stack up gore-wise and effect-wise, this one was off guard. I didn't expect her. That camera cut just for a second, and then she fucking blasts through like she's goddamn Steve Rogers or some shit. Right through that window. Boom, boom, boom. And he's not even surprised. He's like, yeah, not surprised at all. Yeah, here you are. He helps her hide the body, and she's like, you wished for this. You know, and he eventually gets to the point where it's not real. You know, he tries to make that wish with his buddy. He's like, please help me out. Dude wishes for $1 million. Boom, boom, boom. Money everywhere. Bear could care less. He knows that he is, his fate is pretty much decided at that point. Even though I would just go around town, I'd be like, hey, I'll give you a little money if you make this wish for me. And they'd probably just think you were stupid. The same way that his buddy did. I'm not sure what his name is. He was really good too. And you know, maybe somebody would have helped you out, but I am not poking holes in this plot. Thought it was perfect. The way that it ended, pretty damn good. The idea of him going out the same way as his cat, and I'm not exactly sure the theme they were stabbing for there. I'm sure there's a few ways we could go for it. I'm sure a lot of you cinephiles already know it on like the back of your hand. Just felt like, to me, he wanted to go out, like, it almost seemed like the theme of this film is opening a box of worms that you can't close. The cat got into something that it thought was, I don't know, treats or something, and got into it, took it out. Unfortunately, that was very sad. That was, like, the second I saw that, I was like, God, I hope this isn't going to be the vibe of the film. It takes you away from that immediately. This is a roller coaster ride of emotions and just memorable moments, fun moments for horror fans. Like I said, guys, if you haven't seen it, and you're still here for some reason after I spoiled everything, make sure you go watch it. You know, she makes that last wish that he's in love with her. He comes to embrace her. That last moment, it kind of reminded me of Together, which I actually just watched for the first time like a week or so ago. And they kind of blend that ending similar for me, like in that final moment, even though in Together they, you know, spoiler alert for that also, sorry. they become one and they live. So good for them. But in this film, as we know, Bear does not make it. He's about to put the gun to his head, doesn't do it, takes the pills, overdoses as her wish succumbs, and he falls in love with her. He goes to embrace, overdoses, he's finished. And she wakes up, freaking out. And she's finally woken back up. Freaky Nicky has arrived. That's the end. I loved it, guys. Like I said, I'm on the brink of giving it a 10 out of 10. I know a lot of people are already going that far. A lot of people had the luxury of seeing it earlier at film festivals. I wish I could say the same. Maybe one day. But, yeah, guys, as of now, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. But, yeah, I don't doubt that this will be getting a 10 out of 10 down the road. But we'll discuss that when we get to the end of the year with the rest of the films coming out. We're going to compare it to Hokum, which I didn't get to see because it wasn't in my local theater, of course. Live in the middle of fucking nowhere. And Backrooms comes out later this year. I know Disclosure Day is not a horror movie, but I'm really looking forward to that. But what I'm trying to say is I think this is, without a doubt, the #1 film, not even horror film of the year for me. I thought it was awesome, guys. Let me know what you think about this film. I'm going to call it a day. Take it easy.